So first of all, that it's an honor for me actually to be here, and I attended so many presentations yesterday, and I just want to say that my research like is still a work in progress. Like it is not really advanced as so many of the researchers that I attended yesterday, because like really like very advanced researchers, like from very like experts in the field. I'm feeling like a baby here, to be honest. But yeah, and I'm still a PhD researcher, and this research is part of my PhD research, so it's still a work in progress. And I think already so many of you know TED Talks. And today I'm trying to integrate TED Talks through task-based language teaching in EFL classrooms in order to enhance Algerian EFL students' speaking accuracy. And this is an overview of the presentation today. So first of all, I will start by a background and the research aims. After that, I will describe the methodology I adopted in this research. Then I will explain the pedagogical intervention that I implemented. I will discuss some of the preliminary data that I found so far, and finally, some conclusions and potential implications. So first of all, as we know that like nowadays technology is increasingly influencing every aspect in our lives, and it's true for education as well, because so many ICT tools has transformed teaching and learning approaches. And despite, let's say, the significance of technology nowadays, but Algeria is still at an inception stage when it comes to implementing technological tools into its educational system. And I think it's the same in other countries as well. It's not only for Algeria. And considering the pedagogical landscape, task-based language teaching, let's say, is proven to be remarkable pathway for providing educators with a structured framework to integrate technology in the classroom. And I just want to mention that in the Algerian context, because I'm researching the Algerian educational context, there is a concerning gap when it comes to teachers or educators focusing on accuracy, because the prevailing approach in Algerian educational context is CLT, communicative language teaching, and most research or teachers there, sorry, are focusing or giving attention more to fluency rather than accuracy. So that's why I am conducting this research. And yesterday I was attending a presentation here, and one of the presenters, he said that we need to use multimedia effectively in EFI classroom, and that's what I'm researching here, because he recommended using multimedia effectively, and that's what I'm doing in my research. So therefore, like I am trying to use only one ICT tool and one type of multimedia, which is TED Talks videos. And that's why this research aims to combine both TED Talks and task-based language teaching in the language classroom to investigate their impact on EFL Algerian University students' accuracy when speaking English. So first of all, it attempts to explore the extent to which the research participants use ICT tools in general in their learning. Also, to integrate the ICT tool of TED Talks through task-based language teaching in the language classroom. And finally, to examine the extent to which can the use of TED Talks and task-based language teaching enhance or increase the research participants' speaking accuracy. And in order to do so, I conducted already experiment, let's say, in the Algerian educational context. And the research participants were first-year undergraduate students of English in Algeria, for sure, in one university in Algeria, in the south of Algeria. So, and in doing so, there were 3 phases. So I started by doing a pre-study, which included a pre-questionnaire and observations. And the main study was and it's kind of a pedagogical intervention, and the pedagogical intervention was in form of course. It was oral comprehension and expression module. I designed this course. It was 4 weeks, like 2 sessions per week during 4 weeks, and I am the one who delivered this course at the university. And let's say that it was the most important phase because I delivered this course and I was focusing on uh, the integration of TED Talks and at the same time observing the students. So after the pedagogical intervention, I conducted the post-study. Post questionnaires and interviews were conducted. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the pedagogical intervention because it is really the most important phase in my research. So the course that I designed, I used multiple language focused tasks and speaking tasks as well. And when I designed the course, I adapted the teaching speaking cycle used by Bouhamed. So you can see here kind of the different steps that I followed. So this is the teaching speaking cycle. So the first step was focusing learners' attention on speaking. Then I provided input for students. And in this case, the input was in kind of the videos of TED Talks. After that, I conducted speaking tasks. Then I engaged students in language focused tasks, and in these language focused tasks, each time I focus in different linguistic feature, let's say. And after that, I repeated the speaking task again. After the speaking tasks, I directed learners to reflect about their speaking tasks, and I facilitated feedback about their speaking tasks at the end. So, and in order to do so, I have chosen only 3 videos of TED Talks, and I selected them based on cultural appropriacy, the video length, and the appropriateness of the video in relation to students' level of proficiency because they were intermediate students. And this is a table that explains the different sessions. So the first session was only introductory session. It's about introducing TED Talk to the students. And the second session was mainly focusing on accuracy of vocabulary. So they watched the video of TED Talk. The next session was also focusing on the vocabulary of accuracy of vocabulary. And here they conduct the second speaking task. And I repeated the same stages each time. And each time I'm focusing on different linguistic feature. So for the first one, it was vocabulary, then grammar, then pronunciation. And the last session, the concluding session, they conducted or they were engaged in speaking tasks where they have to focus on the 3 linguistic features at the same time. Okay, so for the preliminary data, let's start by the pre-study survey because according to the data that I gained from the pre-study survey, I designed the course. So the first question was about how often the students use ICT devices in general in their studies or for studies purposes, and 52% they said that they regularly use ICT devices for studies purposes. 26 they said that they frequently use them, 16 occasionally use them, and 6% they said that rarely or never use ICT devices for studies purposes. And I think this, let's say the 6% that students, they don't use ICT devices for studies purposes, maybe because they were used to the traditional way of teaching and they find maybe more comfort to just rely on the teacher and just rely on what the teacher gave them to proceed in their learning. And also they were asked about what kind of resources they use to learn English. So most of them, they said that they use video sharing platforms such as YouTube and TikTok and English language music. And however, like language learning apps, language learning websites, they were less, and podcasts as well, they were less used by students to for studies purposes. And they were also asked about their experiences, whether they were teacher-directed to use these ICT resources or it was self-directed. And the surprise is that most of the students that they said that it was like autonomous use of these ICT resources. And some of them, they said that the teachers directed them to use some of the videos, some of the language learning apps and websites. But most of them, they said that it's really autonomous use. And because my research is only about TED Talks, I wanted to know whether the students have an idea about TED Talks videos or platform or application. And they said that 60% they said that they have never heard of TED Talks. 30% they said that they have heard of it, but they never watched any video. And 10% they said that they occasionally use it as a learning source. So here it comes like I think the teacher role to introduce new multimedia tools or to introduce new multimedia ICT resources for students and help them, or let's say encourage them to autonomously use ICT resources or multimedia resources. And that's why I am integrating TED Talks in my research. Now let's see the intervention results, because this is a really important stage in my research. So after the intervention, after conducting the intervention, because in the course, students were asked to produce speaking performances, and I recorded these performances and I transcribed these the speeches, let's say. And after transcribing them, I tried to calculate the accuracy scores of their speaking. And in this case, I used the accuracy score measure. And it is kind of adaptation between, it takes elements from the local accuracy measures supplied in obligatory context and target like use. I don't know if you have an idea about that, but these are two specific accuracy measures. I adapted these two measures and I created the accuracy measure, and I used it in order to calculate the student speaking accuracy. And what I found is that student speaking accuracy was improved in the second speaking performance, let's say in the guided speaking performance, after receiving guidance, after working with TED Talks, working with transcripts, engaging in different language focused tasks. In the second, or in the guided speaking task, their intonation was improved, their usage of past tense was improved, and their usage of formulaic expressions was improved as well. So as you can see, this figure shows the different accuracy measures between the unguided speaking tasks and the guided speaking tasks. As you can see, for instance, like the green line is about the use of formulaic expressions. So in the unguided speaking test, before providing students or before giving students engaging them in language focused test, it was 0.2, but after that it was 0.88. And just wanted to explain that 1 means perfect accuracy score. Okay, for the interview data, like I said that after the intervention, I conducted interview. So I transcribed the interviews as well, and I analyzed them thematically using NVivo. And some of the important themes that I found is that students perceive like the usefulness of TED Talks and the usefulness of the course in general. So first thing, like the overall experience and positive aspects, effective language learning methods. So they perceive the course as positively affected their language learning and especially their speaking. They also, as I said, they perceive the usefulness of TED Talks and language focused tasks, and also the speaking tasks. And they said, like in so many of the in many of the commands, they said that these tasks boost their confidence and engagement as well. And also they expressed satisfaction about the course. So these are some of the commands provided by students. So one of them said, I was using only one tense when I speak, the present simple, and I didn't realize that. But when I watched the videos of TED Talks, they use different tenses, and the language tasks helped me also in the second task. I realized that I use three tenses, and I am happy with that. Like this participant not only improved his accuracy, but he also expressed satisfaction. Another command says, I improved my intonation when I speak in the speaking task because I practiced what I learned from the video and the exercises. And another one said, when I hear the person talks, so I get the vocabulary he uses, and I hear the way he starts and ends the talks, and how he uses vocabulary during the talk in different situations. For example, to express an opinion. So yeah, I got new vocabulary and I used it in the speaking. So all of these commands, let's say, indicate that the students' speaking accuracy was improved, or positively, like TED Talks and task-based language teaching affected their speaking accuracy positively. So as a conclusion, I just want to say that the speaking course that I conducted, or the intervention, first of all, proves that the integration or the combination of TED Talks and task-based language teaching into the EFL classrooms, first of all, raises students' engagement. And also, it appears to raise students' awareness of speaking accuracy, because students at the very beginning, they were only focusing on fluency, so they were given much attention to speaking fluently. But after raising their awareness, like about using TED Talks and using different language-focused tasks, their awareness of speaking accuracy was raised. And also it highlights the significance of teacher guidance, because when I guided them through using one type of multimedia, so when I introduced this type of multimedia, and I introduced it that we can use it for learning purposes, we can use it, like you can use it autonomously, not only inside the classroom but also outside, because it's kind of application and website, and it's really useful for you because you have the transcript, you have the subtitles, you can use different languages. This really highlights the significance of the teacher's guidance. And also it appears to raise students' speaking accuracy, because that's what I found after the analyzing the students' speaking performances. And some of the potential pedagogical recommendations and applications. So, first of all, I think that teachers or educators in general should encourage students to independently use ICT resources for learning, whether multimedia resources or not, but like ICT resources in general. And they also need to integrate multimedia material to create engaging, authentic language learning experiences. Because what I found that when engaging students in authentic situations, when they see people are talking like authentically, or they really feel engaged and motivated to produce as well. And also for researchers, it is important to implement TED Talks and task-based language teaching to enhance learners' engagement in the EFL classroom, because students were really engaged in the second speaking task rather than on the first speaking task. So we can say that the combination of TED Talks and task-based language teaching helped in raising students' engagement. And instructors should provide guidance and support for students to effectively use technology for language learning. And that's my first aim from the conducting this research, because like we are in the technology area, so students in all cases they are using technology, whether inside the classroom or outside the classroom. So why not like encouraging them to use technology for learning purposes? And this would help them as well to autonomously use this kind of ICT resources. And educational institutions, let's talk about educational institutions, because I think they should invest in digital resources and the training as well to align with students' preferences in technologically informed language learning environment. Because I think the point is from here, like the educational institutions should encourage teachers should encourage students, and I think the need for training as well is really important, whether for teachers, because so many teachers, they really don't know, or they don't really have, let's say, the skills maybe to use technology inside the classroom, or to raise students' awareness of using technology for learning purposes. And the thing is that what I found is not really the effectiveness of TED Talks alone, or the effectiveness of task-based language alone, but the holistic approach in general, like the usage of TED Talks and engaging students in different tasks. Sorry. So this holistic approach recognizes the interconnectedness of multimedia content, tasks, and interactive teaching methods for effective language learning. And I think for future research, they should like explore and promote a blended learning approach, combining digital resources with traditional classroom instruction for balanced and effective language learning. Because what we can see now is that I'm talking about the Algerian educational context, because so many teachers are only relying on the traditional way of teaching. So I think it's really important for teachers like to combine things from the traditional classroom and the blended learning. And also because in the findings, so many students, they express that they prefer not using, or they don't use ICT resources in the classroom. So the combination between using ICT resources and the traditional classroom is really important, just to for all the students. And these are the references that I used in my presentation. And thank you so much for your attention.